Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So far this has probably been the luckiest all-terrain vehicle in the world. And why do I say that? First of all, it's ugly as sin and somebody's still working on it. It had a broken crank bolt that came out and somebody's still working on it. It had a broken stator cover. Once again, somebody's still working on it. And the transmission was locked in gear, and by adjusting the clutch, that came loose. So I've decided to take this thing the full ride. Right now what I did is, and I'll show you in a minute, I made sure I'm at top dead center, and with this wire I kind of locked it there. You know what, it doesn't look like anybody's ever been in here before. This is the head, and beneath that obviously the valves and so forth. But I think I'm going to go in there. I'm going to adjust the valves, give it a look, see what kind of shape it's in. And from there we'll really have a pretty decent idea in what kind of condition this motor is in. If the transmission's okay and the crank's okay and it doesn't leak oil and the valves are okay, this thing is going to go from a bottom of the list, I should have left it in the bushes, to a, you know, real nice motor, and maybe it's going to be okay after all. So let's pull the top off and see what we get in here, and I'll show you top dead center and all that other stuff. So I pulled the top of the engine off, the valve cover so to speak, and it actually looks really nice in there. No ridges, no scars. Looks really good. The timing chain appears to be tight, but I'm glad I pulled it apart because all the bolts were loose. Right? Never a good thing. Now, I always have trouble showing you guys this, and hopefully I'm getting better at it. Now what you should see is you should see a T on the flywheel, and there should be a line to the left of it and then a T to the right of that line. So that's the first thing I need to show you, and I'm about to run out of bits. And the second thing I need to show you, I know it's timed properly because there's two lines. See that one there? And there's another one on the other side, right down there. So hopefully I'm showing you those two lines. So I know it's timed properly. I know the top of the engine's in good shape, and it's good that I went in there because everything was loose. I'm going to correct that and make sure there's some play in the valves, and from there we should be good. By the way, when I mentioned timing this, I forgot something that was critical, right? We're sure the marks are where they're supposed to be. You also got to make sure that the lobes are down. And they were. Everything's good, right? You can see no wear here. One thing that's a little concerning, the valves were tight, and I really loosened them up and they still seem a little tight. So I'm like, maybe I timed it wrong. But no, the timing's absolutely good. The timing chain is tight and all. So he must have run it without an air cleaner and put some wear on the valve seats. Anyway, it's all adjusted properly, but when you're timing this, make sure the lobes are down. T here, lobes down, and the line should be straight across, right? 1, 2. There you go. So I adjusted the valves, and this is what we're getting now. I'll take 120. Sounds a little healthier also, so real nice. What's next? The carburetor, portable CDI box, some oil, and this thing should be running. So I took the carburetor off, not all that hard. 10mm loosens the bolt on the air cleaner, and then there's a couple of 10mm on this. So I was going to rebuild this carburetor, but the jets, quite honestly, are kind of cemented in there. I got this one out. The other one just wouldn't come out. You can see it's chipped on the brass there. So I put your typical PZ27 on there. And I got my jump pack on here. And I got my CDI box. 12 volt CDI, 12 volts worth of batteries, spark coil. All it needs is input from the pulse generator, which is that blue and yellow, which goes in on the red. Green for ground, and I put ground on the case. Put a spark plug in there. Put the spark plug wire on. And what do I have left to do? I just need, oh, let me put some gas in it. Hang on. Okay, it's got gasoline. It's got choke. And power. See what it does. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Sounds promising. Let me turn the choke up a little bit, or the throttle up a little bit. Here, let's give it another shot. Well, you can tell I got the valves real loose. Wow. Considering how much oil I put in the cylinder and all, that's not smoking half bad. Well, I'm just going to let it run until it runs out of gas. How'd Harvey do? About out of gas. I mean, the valves are going to make noise because I deliberately said I'm crazy loose. Smoke seems to be getting better. I mean, the carburetor is running on choke right now. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't have an intake manifold leak. I gotta check that. Yeah, I probably have an intake manifold leak. So it's got me running it on choke, which is a little rich at idle, but yeah, you can see when I'm giving it more or less constant throttle and it's kind of hunting. That's probably a vacuum leak. Yeah, that's running too rich. But if I reach down to take the choke off, it's going to stall. I really want to run it out of gas. So what I got to do is roll it in and put a piece of cardboard under it to make sure it's not leaking any oil. And assuming the oil leaks are gone, now it starts and it runs. I mean, might have an intake manifold leak, might have a couple of small things, but I think this engine looks like I've taken it from the world of dead junk, abandoned, to a running engine. These engines running in this kind of condition, you know, eBay, even if given that the cover is good, it's probably the major part of a $500 engine. This thing is worth more in parts than it is complete. So there we have it. I'm gonna call this a success. If I get some time, I might just put a chain on it and take it out for a whirl. I gotta see what kind of shape those back wheel bearings are in. The last thing I want to do after putting all this time and effort into it is throw the chain and take out my my nice new case. Okay, anyway, here we are. I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.